That is the Kia PV5, which is, yes, an electric van, but it's a really, really interesting one. I'm Jordan and you're watching Auto Express, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. First of all, I don't know if I've been watching too much Star Wars lately, but it sort of strikes me that this thing kind of looks like a bit of a prop from a Star Wars film in the best possible way. It's a bit stormtroopery, isn't it? Whatever it is definitely interesting, and that is important for Kia because this is the first time that they've been in the van market. Now, design-wise, they've actually done some really clever things, including this black bonnet here, which cleverly hides how the level between the glass on the front here and the side windows is different between the front quarter of the car, and overall kind of gives the car a really interesting look. Now, as you can see, we've got our Star Point LED lighting, which you'll see in all sorts of Kia's production road cars, as well as a set of headlights down here built into the lower grille section. Now, this one obviously is all electric, but there are some active grille shutters, which will allow for some airflow, but inherently this is a very aerodynamic shape. As we go around the side, as you can see, there's sort of like a bit of an SUV vibe to the lower plastics, and this cargo version here has got a pretty funky looking set of wheels. In fact, I've seen quite a few of the wheel sets that you can get on these, and all of them look very funky. Around the back, as you can see, we've got yet more sort of that starlight effect with the upright tail lights, and again, this being the cargo version, has twin doors. Of course, one of those things of taking into consideration that this is very much so a commercial vehicle is seen here in the cabin. Now, compared to the Buzz, as you can see, it is much more utilitarian, but that is not particularly a bad thing. It is worth noting that this car is a pre-production car, so there are some plastics that aren't particularly relevant to the vans that we'll be seeing on the road towards the end of the year, but the fundamentals are there. So that means that all cars come with a 14.5-inch touchscreen in the center and a 7.5-inch screen in front of the driver. As you can see, the dashboard design is very utilitarian, pretty simple, very easy to wipe down, which is quite important. In terms of storage, we have a little shelf here, which as you can see has the key, and also there's a wireless phone charger in there, and a little drawer here in the center for various bits and bobs. This is a two-seat version, and between, as you can see here, we've got a sort of center console with some cup holders and a bit of a storage tray, and then we've also got a fairly decently sized glove box, and then in the doors plenty more storage. Here is a little shelf for phones and stuff like that, a couple of more cup holders down in the door card, and also the handles are quite cleverly hinged like that, which are pretty interesting. And then if we jump over to the driver's seat, you can also see there is a big console in front of the driver. The steering wheel, well, it just looks like it's from the future, doesn't it? It's completely modern and has all of those sort of standard controls that you would expect from a contemporary Kia. So we've got volume control, our active lane keep assist and safety. We've also got a drive mode button here on the center, and the gears are controlled via the same sort of wand as you'll find in many of Kia's other EV cars as well. There's some adjustable regen on paddles behind the steering wheel, as you can see. And while there's no physical buttons on the center console, your sort of key points are there. So you've got your parking aids and cameras and your hazard switch in the center. And what's important here is a brand new user interface. This is completely different to the standard Kia road cars, as you can see, because the screen is not only a different sort of size, but it's also very variable. Okay, let's talk tech specs, because at launch, this car will be available with two different battery sizes. The first is a 51.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack with a single motor on the front wheels that has 119 brake horsepower. It'll get to 62 miles an hour in 12.8 seconds and have a range of about 180 miles. Above that is the long-range version, which has a 71.2 kilowatt-hour battery and also has a single motor on the front wheels and has a 160 brake horsepower power figure and will get to 62 miles an hour in 10.7 seconds. Now, that car there has a 249 mile range, there or thereabouts, and is available pretty much straight away along with that standard battery option. All PV5s have 400 volt electronic architectures and can charge at up to 150 kilowatts, which allows for a 10 to 80% charge in about 30 minutes. Okay, now for the numbers on this cargo version. So, interior space here in the back is a solid 4.4 square meters, which means that it'll also fit two standard European pallets. That is much, much more than the ID Buzz cargo that it rivals. The payload is also 690 kilograms, and while this car here has two sliding doors, it comes as standard with one. There's also plenty of different configurations that you can get in terms of door layouts and also in terms of body layouts as well, because while this van is the standard bodied van, you can also get it with a cab chassis and a crew chassis as well, which gives you a second row of seats and that big space in the back. There is also passenger versions as well. From launch, there'll be 5-seat options, which have masses of space inside. So with all 5 seats up, you get a 1,320 litre boot, and with those second row folded on the passenger version, 2,315 litres, which is enormous. They'll also look a little bit different to this cargo version because they have windows at the back, which it makes all the difference. And to help cold weather efficiency, there is also the option of a heat pump. Of course, we did mention before there were some pros and cons to this car being much more a commercial van than a passenger car, and that has to do with range. So whilst this does have significantly more cargo space than an ID Buzz, it isn't quite as efficient and doesn't have quite such a long battery range. The thing is though, Kia is going to be betting on one major factor for this being a better option than most of its key rivals, and that is price. So we don't have firm pricing at the moment, but this van that you see here in its current form will cost from about £30,000, which is incredible value considering where the ID Buzz currently sits in terms of price. Now, just a quick reminder, if you are thinking of buying a new car, you can actually sell your old one on autoexpress.co.uk. So if you are, make sure you click the link at the description below and we'll run you through the process. Now, it's also probably worth mentioning that this car has a fabulous warranty program, which is 7 years and 8 years on the battery, which is excellent stuff. Now, pre-orders will actually start around now in May, but first deliveries won't be arriving in the UK until towards the end of 2025. However, I have a feeling that when these do arrive, we'll be seeing them everywhere because it actually offers a pretty compelling package of elements that I don't think many others are really hitting right now. Now, it's a little difficult to tell from in here in a studio where there's no context, but it's quite important to get a sense of exactly how big the PV5 is. Now, this one here is at 4.7 meters long, there or thereabouts, which puts it at about the same sort of size as a VW ID Buzz. It is, however, about 300 mils shorter than a Ford e-Transit Custom, both of which it sees as key rivals. The good news is that if that seems a little bit small for you, Kia are actually in the process of developing 2 further models, the PV7 and the PV9, which will add much larger models to its commercial range, which is excellent news. Now, that was a super quick walk around, and there is so much more detail to get into when we have a play with all of the different variants later in the year. But for now, this feels like a really important car for Kia. Not just that, it also feels like a really important car for the electric commercial van market because it offers a combination of price, practicality, and space that we don't really have in the market right now. Inherently, this is going to be great when it arrives, and we can't wait to see it on the road.